CBT2 has now been out for some time now, and there's been a lot of chatter around it at this point. One of the things I'm not seeing many people talk about is why the CBT is the way it is. Let me explain. The first CBT seemed to have focused on getting the rough blueprint of things and how they want their game to be and who to appeal to. Knowing that Kuro is great at combat means that it seemed to be their first real concern and focus of that CBT. So, they made access to characters much easier so combat could be thoroughly tested in its more infant state. The first test allowed easy access for the characters because the action was the most volatile and most important focus in that state, whereas now you are encouraged or forced to utilize the other focus of Wuthering Waves, exploration and questing. And that, I think, is where Kuro was going with this CBT, exploration. From the first CBT to the current one, they focus their efforts on the world itself and how the exploration is done and how it feels to players. That would explain why bosses and general combat experiences were a bit easier compared to CBT1. Not only that, but it could also partially explain why so many big Genshin-specific creators got in, outside of maybe advertising for their game with their content. That point is a bit of a side tangent and can cover that at another time. But I think as you'll have noticed, it's not just that, since exploration encompasses a lot of other aspects too. NPC interactions for side quests, NPC designs, where collectibles are and the process to get them, and the ratio of rewards to player time, like in the ecosystem, and leveling materials sit within that scope. All of those things stack up to also tackle another potential reason for the focus of the CBT2, the new player or free-to-play player experiences. Since this game is new, all of us will be experiencing this aspect of the game, and I think it's one of the most important times since it can make or break a lot of people. That would explain why they didn't let players get characters more easily, because they wanted to gauge how that new and free-to-play experience is. They needed genuine exploration, gathering, questing, and leveling so they can assess where all of these systems fit. Majority of the players will also be free to play, and having that base strong is important to the health and longevity of the game. So in my opinion, this CBT is one of the most important ones if this was one of their goals. Not only that, but since everyone will be at a no-pay base, that means fights are also genuinely tested all within free-to-play power levels, and where someone can realistically get when they play the game. So, to sum up the points, I think Kuro is using this CBT to test out, first, their approach to exploration and where to improve it, second, the ratio of player time to in-game rewards and items, and third, the new to free-to-play player retention for what is currently being offered. But why am I bringing all of this up? I'm doing it so that hopefully it might help the testers approach things from a different angle or have them consider something else if there's maybe too much focus on one thing. From what I've been seeing in the past, people are bringing up the specific comparisons of CBT1 to CBT2 on character acquisition. It's a relatively small mention compared to the bigger grind-related things I have seen, but that does feed into the disheartening nature of some not continuing to further play the CBT. That feedback on its own is valuable, but providing the specificity is important to that idea, and as I mentioned before, I believe this was done on purpose as this is an essential part of how Wuthering Waves will run. I also know that some people are still a bit stung for allowing creators in when many quit after the first few days, so providing a why could help kind of soften any kind of vitriol or provide some kind of theoretical closure. Also to give some copium for people who lost their 50/50s, but either way, knowing the why I think is generally important. None of it is confirmed though, and all of this is just what I think, and now I want to know what you think too. Let me know down below and I'll try to respond when I can. If you have something you want me to talk about too, you can let me know down there. In any case, thank you for letting me take your time, I appreciate you, and be safe out there.